Well, you guys are in for a special treat tonight. I am actually making dinner. I know that you're shocked. I know that you're amazed. But everybody keeps asking me how I make my gravy with xanthan gum, and I'm making it for myself tonight. So I decided I'm gonna show you how to enter it in Chronometer and make yourself a recipe and how you figure out the servings and all of that. So here we go. Wish me luck with this. I am not sure how this is exactly gonna work. I'm trying to film it and do it at the same time. So the way that you on Chronometer enter a new recipe, the first thing you're gonna hit is the foods button right here. All right, and then if you can't see the recipe, that's because you have a lot of food. Here you go, create new recipe. All right, I'm gonna entitle this beef gravy. And then to add the ingredients, you sometimes can't see it because the keyboard is up. You have to put the keyboard down, see, like that. And then the plus is down here. So you're gonna add the plus here. So I am doing 1 pound of 90-10 ground beef. I'm going for this one because I think this one lets me do ounces. Yeah, and I am doing 16 ounces. You can weigh it in grams if you want to. I'm just doing it like this because I know I already pre-measured it. And you add that in. Okay, and I'm gonna show you as I add in each ingredient. Okay, so I have my food scale here, and I have my onion that I am gonna dice up. The way that you do this is you put the plate on that you're gonna use to measure on, and then you see it has a weight. You want to use the tare button to make that weight go to 0. So just click that, and it will zero out the plate so the plate doesn't weigh any weight. All right, I've diced up my onions. You can see not very beautifully because a chef I am not, and I am just gonna put these onto the plate. And I'm gonna weigh them out in grams. I think it's set on milliliters, but those are actually the same basically as grams. And I didn't really I'm making this the first time, so I just kind of eyeballed how much I thought I wanted in the recipe. And it looks like I've got basically 1.5 ounces, 43 grams of onion, and that's what I decided I'm going to use. So I'm gonna add in the onion here first. Select grams. Oops, no, 43. And that's 3.3 net carbs, and this is gonna make 2 servings, so I'm okay with that number. If you're not okay with that, you don't have to include an onion in yours. It's just a personal taste preference. It just adds another flavor profile. Okay, and then I wanna be able to use fat to cook up my onions. So I'm actually gonna use a tablespoon of olive oil. Maybe you don't need a tablespoon. You might be able to get by with a little less. But for today, I've decided I'm gonna do a tablespoon. So I'm gonna add that in. Okay. All right, my first 3 ingredients. Now I'm gonna go saute these onions. All right, I'm just gonna put my olive oil in the pan. And I move that around a little bit. I've got the on medium-high heat. I'm just gonna let it heat up a little bit. I'm gonna add in my onions. You don't really have to caramelize them, just kind of soften them a bit. They might end up getting caramelized because I'm still waiting for my meat to thaw a little bit in the microwave. I've got it on a defrost right now. So they might end up caramely, but really you don't have to. You just kind of soften them up a little bit. All right, those are about done. Just waiting on the meat. All right, so my ground beef is thawed out, so I'm just throwing it in the pan with the onion. I am going to season this meat. I don't want it to be overly seasoned because I'm going to be adding seasoning with my broth base. So if you see this Corrington Farms broth base, this is actually the bullion base that I use to make this particular gravy that I really like this kind, and it doesn't have MSG. It does, though, have dextrose. You can see it's salts, maltodextrin, which I know is not necessarily keto friendly, dextrose, which is just sugar, soybean oil, which is not super keto friendly. But I'll tell you what, trying to find a bullion that doesn't have stuff in it that you can't have on keto is really difficult. This one is the one I like the flavor of, and it doesn't have MSG, so that is why I chose it. I chose it for flavor alone. It does have 2 total carbs per serving, so for this recipe, that'll be a 1 carb add in. So I'm willing to take that carb. You may want to find something that's a little more keto friendly if you are making this for yourself. Oh my goodness, trying to cook while holding the phone. No wonder you guys have like these fancy things cooking onto your stove there, huh? And I'm burning everything up. I gotta turn the heat down a little. Sorry guys, I am no cook. Okay, normally I would use fresh garlic, but we are apparently out, so I am gonna go ahead and use garlic powder. Garlic powder can be carby, so I am gonna go ahead and measure out 1 gram. Hope not, 1 gram might be too much, I don't know, but let's see if I can even get it to measure 1 gram. Yeah, that's way too much. I don't think that's gonna work. Wait. It's still not 1 gram. Yeah, I'm gonna do half a gram. I'm just gonna call it half a gram. I don't even know if I'm gonna put this much in. Okay, so I've got the meat all seasoned. It's not overly salty, it's just a little bit salty. I just did salt and the garlic powder. I tracked it as a half gram, but I don't even know for sure if that's right. It's definitely not a whole gram, so I'm hoping that's good. So the next thing I'm going to do is add in my bouillon base. And I'm going to go ahead and do for 1 cup of broth, which is 2 teaspoons. I'm sorry. Okay. And then I am going to incorporate that into the meat. Okay, so the next step is water. So I will grab 1 cup of water. And I'm going to mix that up, and then I'm going to bring it back to a boil. Okay, and you want to taste the broth to decide if it's salty enough for you or if you need more bouillon. I'm just going to take a little taste of this. It's almost perfect. It needs just a titch more salt. Alright, I ended up adding in 1 more teaspoon of bouillon, and that tastes really good, so that's going to be 3 teaspoons, so like a serving and a half of the bouillon base. Okay, so the next item is going to be xanthan gum. This is the xanthan gum I use. It's the Bob's Red Mill brand. And if you look on the thing, you can see it's basically fiber. 7 carbs, 7 fiber. So I don't actually track this in my recipe because it's just really pointless if you're doing net carbs. And I don't really measure. I just kind of go with my gut on this kind of thing. So I basically just scoop it out and put it in until I feel like the recipe is thick enough. Okay, so I'm just going to start with xanthan gum in a little spoon like this. And I am just going to sprinkle a little bit and then whisk it. And sprinkle. And I just keep doing that, just a little bit at a time. Make sure it's nice and incorporated. You can kind of see it's starting to thicken up a little bit. Or hope you can see, actually. I don't know. Alright, and that is as thick as I want it. Okay, my very last ingredient is 1/3 of a cup of frozen green peas. And I know you're going to get me, that's not keto. Anything's keto if it's in a small enough size. And this ends up being 2 servings, so it ends up being 1/6 of a cup of peas. I love peas enough to make it worth it to put these into my dinner. And I'm just like heating these up, like, so I really don't even want to cook them very long. I just
really want to mix them in, and then boom, I'm done.
Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do is to put the recipe all into a bowl and weigh it. So I'm going to tear out this bowl, and then I'm just going to put this into the bowl. I think I'm gonna have to put this down to do that. Okay, so you can see the whole recipe weighs 460, 459. It keeps going back and forth. I'll just say 460 for ease, grams for the entire recipe, and I'm gonna show you why you need to know that right now. So you can see here that I have put in all of the recipe ingredients. I'm going to click the little... My kid's playing Fortnite in the next room. I've begged and begged them to be quiet, but they just ignore me. So, you know, there you go. So you get to this next thing, and you're going to add a measure to it. So you want to push the plus down here. Okay. You're going to say 2 servings, like that, for the whole recipe. I'm going to change this to weight-based. All right. So I'm changing it to weight-based. And then I'm going to add in the 460 grams right there, which makes 2 servings. Voila! That's the way to do it. All right, and then click done. I don't think I need to add any more measurements. And I'll click the little thing, like that. So 2 servings is 460 grams. These are the macros for it, for the whole thing. Let's see. So 103 grams of protein, 8.9 net carbs, and 43 grams of fat for the whole recipe, and I'm going to be eating half a recipe. Okay, so then you click the little thing up here. Let's see, the category can be, I don't know, what's the category? Gravies, there we go, gravies, why not? And we don't need to put any notes, we know what it is. And then save the recipe, yes. And there we have it. So then we can add it into our food diary. Add food, and then we'll search it, beef, and it should come right up to the top. There it is, right there, the blue one. Okay, and then I'll just say half a serving. Oh wait, 1 full recipe. Oh, I should have put 2 servings was, shoot, I messed something up. Anyway, I'll just do half a serving, that'll work. And then add, and then you see it goes right into my targets, and it meets 52% of my targets for today, which is perfect. So I'm going to add in my breakfast. I didn't do that already, but when I do, it's going to be perfect. So that's going to be awesome. And then I am going to serve this over 100 grams of cauliflower rice that I am actually going to cook in the same pan that I already cooked the gravy, so that it kind of gets flavor that way. All right, so I turned the heat back on my gravy pan that I poured the gravy out of. You can see there's just little bits of oil and, you know, beef and everything in it. It's just starting to sizzle up. So I'm actually going to add a whole entire container of this riced cauliflower. The frozen riced cauliflower works so awesomely well for rice because they like brine it. And so it's frozen really well in little tiny chunks, and it tastes the most like actual rice than just like ricing it yourself. And I'm sharing this with my son, so I am doing the whole package, which is about like 220 grams. It's like a cup, basically, of cauliflower, but like 220 something grams, I think. I'm just gonna add that into the pan. And then I kind of cook it like, you know, like hash browns, where I kind of like, I don't know, spread it around the pan, make it even, and let it just kind of sit there until I feel like it's browning a little, and then kind of flip it. I don't know. All right, and my cauliflower rice is all done. It's just a little brown, and it's heated up all the way through, so it's time to eat. Okay, and one last thing I wanted to show you guys is how I actually measured the gravy. So I actually put it on the measuring scale again, and I put it to 0. And I know that the whole recipe contains 460 grams, and I want it to have half the recipe, so I'm going to take out 230 grams. Let's try that again. There we go. Okay, so basically what I'll do is to take out, as I scoop some out, you'll see that's 165 right there. And I just kind of just take out until I get to 230, which is just about there. And there you have it. Hamburger gravy. You guys asked for it. Now you have it.